What's up, everybody? This is Gabe Newberry here, and I am here with Kayla Carosella. She is the owner, operator of Lokal Real Estate, and I'm sure you guys already know this is Local Keys and Contracts, guys. And my name, like I said, Gabriel Newberry. I can't wait for this episode. She is a mogul. She is a woman, the myth, the legend. Kayla Carosella, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for the energy and having me. This is so much fun.
I know.
I'm grateful to be here.
Guys, I was just letting her know that she's the first person in the new office.
Crazy.
So this is official. We even have a sign. You
Boom,
see?
baby.
I know, boom.
And it looks great.
Thank you.
I love the sign.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I ended up wanting to get it with the local flavor. That's why I ended up doing local up at the top, and we got everything set in stone.
It's perfect. I love it.
Yep.
I love it.
So what's going on? So one of the major things, Kay, I know, you're always all over the place, all the time, running nonstop. I mean, now full on with 28 agents, plus you're dealing with your own real estate business, plus you have God knows how many rentals, plus you have a gutter business that you're operating.
It's a lot.
Oh my God.
It's a lot, you know. So I always start, you know, my main focus when I got into real estate in 2014. I don't know if you even know this, but like the goal was always to be a real estate agent. I just kind of took a different route getting there because, so I started in title actually in 2014 and I was there for a few years. It was now that you know me, you know I can't sit behind the desk like that. So I was young though. It was, 2014, I graduated in 2010. So, you know, it took a few years, didn't go to college, but really big on the, you know, University of Google. Got a doctorate in the University of Google, right? So, but I knew that real estate was it because I had that passion for it. Like I love, just like you do, you know, like you love all things houses. So started in title and learned the ropes. The company that I worked for, New Market Title, they had, you know, I think it was like Kristen Mason that was there. She was such a powerhouse. Like, everybody in the room went to her if they needed anything, like a question on anything. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be the person that is so valuable that people go to. Like, I wanted that. And so I knew title wasn't it. Like, that wasn't really where my heart was, the 9 to 5, but it did get me started. So I met Don Galvin over at Cross Country Mortgage, and we were doing some deals together at the time, and I said, hey, you know, I'm thinking about making the switch into lending. He was like, come on over. So I was with Donnie for about, I would say 4 or 5 years over at Cross Country, just kind of doing everything. And at that time, I was also working full-time at a bar. So because you know, getting into real estate, what I was hearing, I had prior knowledge. So I was hearing from, you know, the agents that I was doing deals from, like, you know, it's hard. Like, you have to have a really good work ethic for one. You have to be able to, like, build some referral business, which takes time. And then even just, like, getting off the ground and running from the time you get your license to you get, like, your first paycheck. Sometimes it's 3 to 4 months. So in my head, I'm like, I can't go 3 to 4 months without some,
you were like,
without some loot coming in. I'm like, no. So I was making great money in lending. And when I say great money, I mean I'm making 6 figures. So that wasn't enough, though. It wasn't enough for me. I was also working at the bar, so 9 to 5. I'd go in and I'd work at Cross Country, and then I would get out at the time. During this period of time, I was working out at a CrossFit gym. Most of the people at Local were, and a lot of them still work out there. You've probably heard.
Oh,
and it was a CrossFit gym. So we had a 6 o'clock class. I would get out at 5. I would go to that 6 o'clock class. I'd go home, eat dinner real quick, and then I'd go work at Great and Road Tavern from 9 to 2. And I did that 4 days a week. And then I worked at at Cross Country Monday through Friday. So I just kind of ran like a machine on no sleep for 4 years. And there was an amount of money that I had in my head. That amount of money for me was $60,000. You know, I said once I have $60,000 and a little nest egg and I feel good, I'm gonna quit the bar and I'm going to put everything into real estate. And
now, was that rental side, or it was like, oh, I want to have a nest egg for going to the business?
That was just like, I just want to have a nest egg for getting into the business. So I wasn't even, you know, I was gonna, in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna buy something eventually, but the nest egg is there for me just to make sure that I don't get in any type of trouble.
Yeah. You were brilliant versus I was literally at a position where it was like, okay,
it's hard.
Do cold calls in the morning,
I know.
Uber at night.
Well, it's hard because you have to make a choice and you have to like stand behind your choice. So here's what it looked like. So I got the license in 2019 and I bought my first rental at the end of 2020.
Wow.
So that first year, like about, you know, your first year, I got my license in September, closed a few deals that year, nothing crazy, and then flew by the seat of my pants. So Mario Russo, incredible. He's still one of our seasoned legacy agents at Lokal, but he at the time was he was our sales manager, and he was closing a ton of deals. And I'm like, how is he doing both? You know what I mean? So it was just so crazy to me. I'm like, I need to hang out with that guy. Like, I got to figure out what that guy's doing.
Yeah.
And what that guy was doing is he was going out, getting these contracts locked up off market, and then he needed buyers for those deals. Like, I noticed they had a ton of inventory. This is back in 2020, 2021, 2022, when off market and wholesaling was like
the thing.
That, I mean, we were closing anywhere from 20 to 40 deals a year with Great Lakes back at this time. So, and there was like 5 or 6 of us that were getting a piece of that pie. So the way it looked is the guys would all go out, they'd sign these deals up, and then it was easy for me. I'm like, okay, if I want to learn from them, or if I want a piece of this pie, I better go figure out some buyers that are going to purchase these. So I would take the deals and I would take them directly to the buyers, and we built a huge buyer list off that. And that became just such like a plug and play, because I'm like, hey, I've got, you know, a couple big investors from, at the time it was like Massachusetts. We had people from Israel that were buying. We had people from California that were buying, Vermont, like you name it. And then at that point, it's just, hey, what's your criteria? What are you looking for? We'd go sign up the deals, and it was just.
I know right around COVID, that was like
when
crazy. Everything exploded.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So we had the off-market operation running, and I was probably one of maybe 3 girls at the brokerage. So I was really like selling those deals. So that was like the one part of my business in 2020. And this is how I paint this out. So the off-market business was one side.
Yeah.
And then I was doing agency. So I was, learning how to be an agent, which I had a little bit of background from title and lending, but
I was about to say the title and lending piece was probably phenomenal, because you were able to end up giving like kind of a holistic thing for all the buyers, especially out of country people. Like they need to be able to know all those components, because God forbid, and
it just makes them feel more comfortable. So yeah. And to that point, agents, if you're a newer agent and you're listening to this, just want to take a time, stop to say, if you have someone in the title or the lending industry that you have a personal relationship with, go shadow them for a day. Go sit with them and just see the things that come up. If anything, at least you're going to have some respect for your title and your lending people, but you're going to learn a ton.
Yeah.
And it's so important for us to understand that synergy and that team and how we are a part of this. We're not getting out of a transaction without the title company, right? We can't get through a transaction without title. So it's very important for agents to understand it. It really is.
Yeah. And it's not even just agents, frankly, investors out there. You got to understand, one of the biggest core components is this is your business, this is your money. Frankly, having as much knowledge as humanly possible, or being with an agent who's able to kind of structure a good solid team in place, especially if you're coming from out of state, out of country, that's a lot of my background too. So I sympathize with you with that, because it's like, God knows some of these people are losing their shirts with regards to these deals. And it's because, honestly, they're just misrepresented.
Totally.
Or they don't understand.
Yep. So many different laws, and it's just, it is a lot. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
so that agency piece, that agency piece, the market during that time, I mean, you're talking COVID, you put a listing up and you have 15 offers. You have a buyer client and you're writing 15 offers for them. Yeah, for them to get it. And it's like, at that point you're learning that, you have to do your job, but you also have to be a therapist to your clients too, because it's like, you have to keep them engaged, and they're feeling the loss. You're writing the offers, you're feeling it. It's not sticking for them. They're feeling the rejection with us. So all of that was going on. So I had the off market, I had, so that piece was working, and then I had that agency piece was working.
Yeah.
Once I felt like I got my rhythm with those two, and when I say that, like, my goal was always to send a deal to title a week.
Yep.
That was the goal. Send a deal to title a week.
Yep.
And then I'm going to bring back up Mario Russo, my good friend, and my mentor, throughout a lot of this time. One thing that we would always say to each other is, let's just make sure we're always working on $1 million deal. And so 1 deal a week, that's the goal. We found out to get 1 deal a week, sometimes it takes 10 appointments. So a minimum of 10 appointments that you're going on to get that 1 deal a week. To hope that you can consistently close 4 to 5.
God forbid, it's like,
and then you look back and you're able to service that many clients. So that those 3 parts. Once I had that rhythm and I felt like, okay, now you have the hang of this. You're closing, 3 or 4 deals a month, and all right, let's rock the boat a little bit. The important thing here, and the theme of this podcast for me, is the second I got comfortable, I went right back into uncomfortability. The second I felt comfortable, and I did. Off market was popping, the on market business was popping. I'm like, you know what? I haven't really touched that nest egg. I didn't have to touch it because I was making, and I said, you touch that if you get in trouble. So there's a discipline piece to that nobody wants to open up that tax account for 25% and actually have to put 25% in that tax account and not touch it. It's hard to do that. It takes discipline to do that. And so when I did it, I took it so seriously, like, I can't touch that. That's for taxes. And at the end of the year, every bit of that money is getting paid into taxes, which after the first year, that's when you realize, like, okay, I'm not touching it.
That's when you're heartbroken.
Yeah, you're like, oh man, but you don't realize that, you're making it and it's going out. So you have to pay attention to all those things. But so I had that money there, and I started throughout this time, I thought, okay, I learned a thing or two along the way. I learned that I can get a whole piece of the pie if I go and sign up the deals that my buyers were looking for, right? If I just went and got them, then I keep the whole piece of that pie. That was very easy for me to understand. So I started going on my own wholesaling appointments. And when I would get there, you always give the cash offer. So I'd give the cash offer. And if that didn't work, I'd give them a price of what we can list it for. But this one was, for a wholesale deal, you usually want, like, back then at least, you want like $10,000 to $15,000 in between there.
Right.
And on this specific deal in Garfield, it was really tight. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy this one. And so I had the money. And I had the money to purchase it. I wanted to, I ran the numbers originally as a flip, but ran it, it's a bungalow, so your exit strategy, if you want to buy it as a rental, you have a couple different options. You can always put tenants in there, but we bought it with the purpose to flip it. So at the time, the only person I truly trusted was my father. And so I called him and I said, hey, he's never owned, or he's never, like, purchased a property outside of, like, the homes that he's owned. So he's never done anything for investment purposes. I said, hey, this is our time. I've got the money. I just need about $25,000 for the rehab. Are you in? He's like, I mean, I trust you. I'm like, okay, good. Let's do it. And we made $50,000 on that. And that was our first one. So I was like, hey, you know, we did it. We got through it. 8 weeks with the rehab. We dealt with the city on the point of sale.
Only 8 weeks on a rehab?
8 weeks on a rehab. Well, let me talk about that. So a reason why, you know, we're going to talk about this with the gutter business, but my family, I have a big Italian family, and my dad has always ran the gutter business, and then his brother and my other uncles, they're all in carpentry. So they're at Dane Contracting. Dane's in Westlake, and they do restoration. So they do a lot of restoration, remodels, and things like that. So I had an idea of who was going to be working on the property. I would have never bought one and then tried to find contractors after the fact. If you've done that before, you don't sleep well at night.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so I trusted the quality of the work that was going in it. And honestly, it was my dad, my brother, and my uncle. My uncle is a project manager, and my dad and my brother are carpentry. So they were.
So you had all the components.
Had the components. And
that's so cool.
And what I would say is, if I didn't have the components, I would have found the components working in the off-market business and working in my residential business. Like, you meet people, and maybe you don't, if you don't have the conversation, you don't see the opportunity there. But my my out-of-state owners were buying stuff, and they were having issues with their contractors. But I would meet them in person, and a few of them, like, I could tell the issues from the ones that weren't giving them issues. And then I was able to relay that to my client. Like, here's what's going on. You know, you don't need cameras. I can pop by every once in a while, but here's what's going on. So, you know, at that point, you can form a relationship with somebody that you're investing with. I did that. So I had my dad first, and we bought that one property and flipped it.
I want to rewind really quick. So for these first-time investors or for people watching, one of the biggest things, right, is how, for that first analysis, that walkthrough, what sold you on, okay, this is going to be mine, versus I'm going to send this out to clients. What sold you on this is a flip versus this is a burr-out strategy? What sold you on this just makes sense numbers-wise on breakdown? And then how did you, in your head, you were like, okay, I know it needs X, Y, Z. Is it just from walking through similar?
It is.
And you're just used to it? Or is it because you had contractors like your dad and your brothers, they came through, they gave you the budgets, and then you were like, okay, we're solid?
Yep.
Or did you already have those numbers calculated in?
So even though my uncle is my family, I still was trading time for money. So I would just say to him, hey, like, and again, this goes back to your title and your lending. If you want to know something, you sit with them and you figure it out, right?
Yes.
So same mindset with my contractors. Can I walk a couple properties with you and just take notes? Absolutely, you can. And I would do that a little bit on his projects. And then when I was walking properties, if I had like X amount that I was going to look at, I would get him and I would pay him. I would just say, hey, for like $200 for the day, can you walk these 3 properties with me? I will have a bid next to me and you just shoot off numbers. And I understood his system. Like, he knew the cost of material. So honestly, to him, it was like, you're gonna go in $3,500 a room. It's gonna be $3,500 a room. And then you base it off of, so Garfield and Maple, those are your, let's call it your C, B- areas. So there, maybe you're spending 10 to 15 on a kitchen, not 20 to 25,000. So we're going to add the budget up a little bit for that. But when I walk into a property, I'm going to take it a step further. And maybe this is not something that you've heard before, but there's a tenant in there when I walked it. So when you're purchasing homes with tenants in them, that's all you care about. How is the tenant, right?
Yeah.
So when I walked in there, I met the tenant in person, and I think her name was Tiffany, actually. Her name was Tiffany, and she was a nurse. And I said, hey, you know, I was honest with her. I said, I'm thinking about purchasing the home. And she was like, okay, well, the lease is up. We are on a month-to-month, and we were thinking about moving anyway. And I said, okay, well, here's what the rent would have been. So I had this conversation up front with her. And one thing I said to her too was, as a real estate agent, my and a landlord, right? So two things here. I'm a real estate agent. I always disclose that, but but I would be her landlord and her home and the owner of the home. But the real estate agent in me wants to ask you, do you have dreams of becoming a homeowner? And she said, no, I don't. I said, okay, if you did, it would be my goal to help you get there. No, you know, I just wanted to rent. Okay. Now the point I make here is, if I went to that home and that tenant was behind on rent, or when I walked in the house it was trashed and you know things weren't kept up with and it wasn't nice, that home probably wouldn't have been the home for me at the time, because I was purchasing it with the tenant in it. And that tenant can make your life an absolute living hell.
Yeah.
They absolutely can. I've not bought perfect homes in the sense that all they needed was cosmetic, because the tenant situation was so difficult, and
oh my God.
I'm not dealing with that right now.
Yeah.
So there's that. The first part is, what are we working with on the tenant side? And then you're looking at your main stuff, your roof, your mechanicals. The second I go into a home, I walk right downstairs into the basement. The basement's going to tell me everything. I learned that from walking with my contractors. So, and the same thing, you know, you walk right down there and you get a lay of, you know, what's going on.
Yeah.
Most of the time, right the second that I walked in the basement, I knew if I was going to purchase the house or not. Mm-hmm. Because
Bowling walls, and you're like, no.
Sure. Again, it tells you a lot. So you're looking for those things, and it does come with experience. It definitely takes time. I probably walked, 30 to 50 homes and wrote 30 to 50 bids for me to really, really understand that part of it.
And when you walk through that one, was it just pretty much like, oh my gosh, this is
a perfect first one for us, because the tenant is a normal person. We have a plan for getting her out. And we're going to help her get out. Yes. She knows the timeline. Yep. We're very clear on that. Yeah. We didn't come in saying, hey, we're going to kick you out. We said, hey, we're born and raised here. We do this. We're from here. Yeah. Our plan is to put our rehab budget was $22,000 on that property. We added a bathroom. It was a bungalow. So we added a bathroom to the upstairs. We made it like a nice master ensuite. Yeah. And then there was 3 bedrooms. So that was 3 bedrooms total, 2 on the main floor. And then there was also a bathroom and the basement, in the basement. So we re-sided it. It had 1 layer on the roof, so that was perfect. Obviously, we put some new gutters on there. Updated kitchens, bathrooms,
and everything. If we didn't already say, she owns a gutter company as well.
Yeah. So we do get a little bit of a break on. We could sub out roofing, siding, windows, and gutters. So, but again, like those bigger ticket items. Yes. If I have bigger ticket items, okay, I know it's going to cost me I got Barbera, I got X amount of suppliers that I can get the siding for this amount in this area, and you can work your numbers that way too.
And now fast forward as well. Yeah. I mean, okay, how many flips at this point do you even remember? Many offhand? Okay, how many flips have you done, and then how many rentals in your history so far?
Yeah, so I'm at 19 flips. So Carmon in Cleveland, which that last flip that I did, that was with my partner that I had met, the only person that I invest with now besides my dad, which was Chris Reynolds. Mm-hmm. So we did.
Shout out to Chris. You gotta get him on the podcast.
Yeah, it's my guy. He's local, and we see eye to eye. We're aligned. I've got strengths that are his weaknesses. He's got weaknesses that are my strengths. So it works really, really well. Nice. But the last one that we flipped, that was in Cleveland, we did pretty well on that one. That was 19 for me. Nice. And then rentals, I have 22 in the portfolio. And of those, that has been a learning curve too. Of those, all singles except the commercial building that we're in.
Wild. Yeah, that's and you're a complete powerhouse. Let's pivot to from the investment side as well, right? Now we're switching over to gutter business. You have off to the side. How do you even operate that within scope of your still a full-time agent. And once again, then we're transitioning over to the local piece where you're running local real estate as well. So, I mean, talk us through that. Like, what?
So I have
what do you
great
do?
people
Like,
in
do you have
place.
Monday meetings?
Yeah.
And you're like, okay.
I do. So the first thing is I have great people in place.
Right.
The gutter company, we are small but mighty, just like the brokerage.
Yep.
And that helps. There's not a ton of people in the operation. There's not a ton of noise. It's a very well-oiled machine.
Nice.
So the gutter business has always been a business that my dad and my papa ran. I mean, that's what my dad's done since he was 19 years old. They got in a truck and they built that business. And that's what started the business owner in me back then, is they would come home and unload that gutter truck and talk for like hours while I was helping like my grandma get dinner together. And there'd be some arguments and then there'd be some hugging it out. But it was always so passionate. And I'm like, what are they talking about?
Italian.
And when you're younger, like you're only listening to the conversations you're not supposed to be listening to. So like my ears to the door and I'm like, what are they fighting about? You know what I mean? But it was so simple to me. Like they went out and they worked all day and that was the reason that we had lights and food and shelter and all that other stuff. It was so simple to me. Like those pieces were so simple to me. But I always wanted in on the gutter business, but my dad is an Italian man and that gutter business was only for my brother. You know?
All I think of is Goodfellas.
For years, I'm like, you need any help? You need any help? Can I do anything? You know, I'm sending over 10 jobs, 5 to 10 jobs a week. I'm like, you need anything from me? Can I do anything? It wasn't until, unfortunately, he hired a helper. And the helper was making a lot more money than he should have been. And my dad said something to me, and he was like, hey, I need you to check something for me. And I'm like, yeah, you do. You need me to check something. Like, this is my opportunity. He needs help. I'm like, he needs help. Because, you know, my brother he has 4 kids and he doesn't want to run the gutter business. It's not something that he wants to take and run with, you know? That's why naturally I was like, well, I want it. I understand it. I see it. I can help here. You know, I'm in the housing industry. I understand how I can leverage both pieces. So, you know, that was like, so back to the helper, he was like, can you check something for me? And I'm like, yeah. And I went in and I kind of looked at the books and I instantly saw that he was altering the checks.
Oh my
so
God.
I said, first of all, we should pay the helper cash. But what do you're not anticipating that, but he was altering the check. So if it was $3,000, it was $8,000.
Oh my God.
So
and this was charged to the client, or it was just like
it was coming out of Villa. It was coming out of the account. So I was like, holy moly. So instantly I go pull up every single check. I got with his accountant. I said, pull up every single check. I called the bank instantly. I got everything printed out. I highlighted everything. I tallied up the amount. My dad was just like, I mean, rightfully so.
Right.
It was over $40,000 over a very small period of time. And it was like, what just happened?
Were you guys able to end up claiming that back?
We were. I worked with them, and it was this gentleman's fifth. It was his 5th attempt. So the scariest thing for me, honestly, I was like, listen, if you have jobs that he's going to, we know this. Like, you send him on a truck with Tony, like my brother. Like, because my biggest fear is I don't want him killing him at this point.
Yeah.
I don't want you saying anything. We don't know who this person is. Like, and so everything worked out, but it was that, he came to me and he said, I need help. And I said, okay, like, I've got you, let's do this. And I was very honest with him. I'm like, I work 9 to, I'm pretty much 9 to 7.
Yeah.
But, but some of the things that I can do, like I took a look at what could help him. They were already, running a very, very, very profitable business, and he showed me like kind of how he works that, and he's very old school, which I liked because old school, it's the easiest thing for me to understand, and then I can bring it up to modernization, right? Technology the way it is now.
That's what we're working on with me, with my systems of pages.
We're always going to be working on it because time's just moving so fast, and we always want to go back to the basics. And to my dad's point, that shit works. That stuff works. Like, just do that because it made sense. The system, sometimes the systems will confuse you. The black and white paper and like, here, this check went out and we're balancing a checkbook. I'm like, yeah, I can follow that. You know what I mean? Like, it's very clear what's in the account when you look at it that way. So I was able to notice right away, like, one thing that I know I can do is I can get the jobs posted every day for you guys. So I can work with, I'm really good with time management, scheduling, time blocking. That's my favorite thing to talk about. So, and time is money, right? So you have to be good at managing your time when you're at a level, or if you want to make X amount of money, you have to get serious. Time management's that one thing that you have to get serious about. So I either post the jobs to them at night before I go to sleep, or they get them by 7 a.m. that next day. I help with the billing. I help get supplies and things out. I help with the marketing, and we have a nice shop right there in North Royalton. But family-owned business, and it's a steady couple. So my dad, my brother, my cousin, and then one helper. And they go out, like I said, every morning at 7. They're done by 4 usually, and then they don't work in the winter months. They're laid off. So in the winter months, the crew works on the flips, the rentals. That's when I do my buying. That's when I have my most buying power because I have the guys that are able to work on it. Throughout the year, I can't purchase any flips. I can only purchase rentals. And then I have a handyman that services anything that needs done with those. Once I got to once we got really to like 15, we have somebody that handles the property management because we were doing that piece back in 2021 and it was too much. So
I can imagine.
You can't do it. You have to hire a professional. And so that's when I said, hey, we have enough in place, but let's pass this off for X%. And this is what our portfolio's at. You can only have 11 loans in your name. I'm maxed out at that. So here we are. That's why it's 20. That's why I know that it's 22 because we have 11 here and 11 there. And so.
That's wild.
Yes.
That's wild, Kay.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely phenomenal, too, how you're bridging all of this, and it's ultimately leading towards local.
Yeah.
So now owner-operator of local, and you're dealing with 28 agents. I looked with so much volume coming into Q1. It's wild. So it's
you guys are crushing it.
With regards to this, I mean, talk me through. I mean, I know I've seen you in the office. It's nonstop every day. It sounds like you weren't sleeping for 4 years before, so it's just naturally bleeding back.
I didn't sleep for 4 years, and now I get 8 hours a night.
God bless you.
I do. I didn't sleep for 4 years, but it's the time blocking, and it's because I'm up. I get up. I'm up at 6 a.m. I'm ready. I'm ready to take my first call by 9. That's just something you have to work through. That was a difficult time for me, though. When I got into this business, Mario used to laugh at me, but I had to sleep train myself because I would get home from working at the bar at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it would take me a minute to wind down, and then I'd get right back up and I'd go to work. So I would when I say I sleep trained myself, what that looks like is I would start taking melatonin or Tylenol PM or Advil PM. I learned you can't take the same thing over and over again or your body gets used to it and then it doesn't work. So I would throw a different one in there, but I'd start at 7 o'clock and then that just got me in the habit of you're in bed by 9 or you're in bed by 10 and doesn't sound sexy, but it's the sexiest thing in the world when you wake up feeling real good. So you have to do that.
Yeah.
I went from in 2023, when I got when we were working through the gutter business and adding that piece in, that's when Adam and Travis essentially came to me and at the end of 2023 in October, and we were talking about a piece of ownership in local, and so I'm like, of course they bring up a piece of course, right when I just here we go. Here's timing and here's opportunity and here's how it goes again, right? Like you make plans, God laughs at you. I'm like, okay, I see what you're doing here.
Yep.
But when that came about, of course I was all on board, it didn't even occur to me and I didn't even think about it. Like I went from it didn't even occur to me actually till last year that I went from being a solo agent to an owner with a team of 30 people overnight, and 30 individual solo agents that are all lighting the world on fire in their individual businesses and have keys and contracts podcasts going and are just like fearless. And I look around and I'm like, everybody has their own thing going on. Like, really though, almost everybody. Like we did Keanu's book club yesterday.
Yes.
Like Shondor ran an Ironman. Yeah. Shauna is working on her own pitch to be like the Shauna on the lake, like the lady on the lake and Sandusky, and like fearlessly running into that. Valerie transitioned out of property management and a leasing company and an insurance business and just gave it up and says, I'm going to put 100% into my real estate business. And I'm kind of watching everybody do that fearless thing that I did 5 years ago. And I'm noticing that maybe it's just because I talk to you guys about it so much that you're just like, she can do it, I can do it too.
Sure. I think absolutely. The main thing I think with you is the fact that for any of us within all of this, it's a situation where you've got to do it.
Yeah.
You've got to do it.
No way around it.
There's not. And then you know as well as I do. It's a situation where God knows this business is not for the faint of heart. It's like you're talking about sleepless nights, nonstop go. Mm-hmm. You had to sleep train yourself just to be able to facilitate because frankly, it's like it'll all catch up to you. Uh-huh. I've dealt with the same exact thing. I'm dealing with the same exact thing where it's sleep deprivation and we're figuring that out and time blocking. And it's just like there's constantly those new struggles, especially as a business owner, where you just want to keep on expanding. You want to keep on building. You want to keep on scaling. But then you have to build all those systems.
You do.
Inside.
You have to be very intentional about it.
Well, that's the beauty of what you're incorporating within Lokal is fine-tuning and fixing those systems. And that is a core operational piece to help somebody, especially coming new into the business, because it's helpful for, like I've been in for 5 years. She's been in for 6, 7.
So it'll be,
God knows.
It'll be 7 in September.
Oh my God.
And time flies.
And with your
background
with title and no. I know. Shit. But to be honest, it's a situation where
look how much you've done in 5 years.
Look how much you've done in 7.
I mean, so it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's compound interest.
It is.
You do these little things every single day.
Yes, but that's where it's like the cool part is the fact of with trainings and stuff that you're doing at Lokal weekly is a core component to helping agents that are newer progress from point A to B in a more efficient and quick manner.
With confidence.
And
clarity.
Yes.
Because if you don't have it,
you're screwed.
You're screwed. And there's just been so many people that I've seen get out of this and burn out of this because they just didn't have the right things in place. Because your mind, like I talk about mindset with you guys so much because it is such an important component. Yes. It's the most important piece of it.
Yes.
It's the most, to me. Your mindset, then your skill set, and then your actions that you take. But your mindset, like, you always have to work on that. And so in the morning when I wake up, that's just engraved in me. I read 10 pages, I say my affirmations, I do my Pilates workout, and that's my routine, that's my ritual, that's how I get my day started. That's how I get my day started. If I miss that, I don't feel right. I was in Fort Collins last week at leadership training. It was the most incredible, pivotal, emotional, impactful week I've ever had in my life there. But I didn't, and that's when I was in the room. But I felt off because I didn't wake up, do my Pilates, I can only do my affirmations, and you can't work out there. The elevation is crazy. I can't even breathe there. So you can't do any Pilates. Like
Are you serious?
No, you cannot do. And actually, Kane's 21. He just turned 21. When we went there last year, and he did his installation, he goes, I worked out this morning, not going to do that tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, he's 21 and he couldn't do it. So yeah, it's a thing. It is.
You're like, all right, look, this has to be with atmosphere.
Yeah. But what you find is that like the same struggles I have, you guys have. And so I just get to talk you through it and talk about how I get through it. And maybe you take something and you learn something from it. Or maybe you don't. And that's fine too, but the synergy helps.
Well, the cool part, going back to the book, because we just had this book club yesterday, and I thought it was phenomenal with
Think
Kiana.
and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill.
Oh my God, masterminding and being able to pull from core components of thought process and being able to work through with other people to help pull. Like, I'm a huge advocate for the 5 people you hang around with the most are going to be who you become.
Who you flock with.
And it's so cool to see these guys, and that's the phenomenal part about our brokerage.
Yeah.
And this is small plug, is frankly, it's so cool to have each of us able to help with each other's deals, but at the same time too, also help with each other's struggles, which is a very real thing that's going on. And I don't really speak too much on the agency side with regards to this podcast. It's always investor specific, and here's how it ties in. Frankly, for investors as well, it's all about your network. It's all about not only your people, but also what type of influences you're taking. And Kayla, if you could speak a bit about that, with how that's impacted you. You've been a wealth of knowledge, and you've been absolutely phenomenal for agents. But with regards to it, how has your network really kind of helped guide you and land you towards, okay, you're looking forward with forward momentum, nonstop go. I know all you think about is scale.
Yeah. So
what have you
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So when I joined Local in 2019, I joined because of that networking event.
Oh my God.
I met all my people in there. Well, I got Adam's number. I called him. I said, hey, I heard you're my guy. Nobody else around here. Like, I had met with a bunch of broker owners, and at the time that I was getting licensed, I was like, yeah, I want to learn how to invest. And they're like, yeah, but the sales part. And I'm like, no, like, let's go back to the investment part. Like, how are you going to help me build wealth? Well, we're going to teach you how to be an agent, and then you can run a team. Okay, so what about the investing piece? And I wasn't getting that. So Adam and Travis were that investor piece. And so when I went to the networking event, Local, this was back in 2019. It was at PJ McIntyre's in the basement there. And I went down there. I met Roman, our broker, our now still broker. Roman, he's amazing. REO specialist, does all that.
Shout out to Roman.
Yeah, shout out to Roman Tarnowski. He's the best. So Roman was there, Mario Russo, Steve Cathcart was there, Brian Burke, all still agents with Local still. And I'm like, okay, these guys are, and Adam and Trav, they're buying, they're flipping, they're doing a bunch of business. I'm like, I found my tribe right here. Like, this is the vibe that I'm looking for. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I need. Let me get started, right? Let's fast forward. I built my business in that room. Like, I built my business in that networking event. Like, I was at almost every single one of them. If I couldn't make it, I truly was on vacation or had an appointment. Like, I never wanted to miss that 2 hours. And the first thing was like, one, I'm a local agent. So if anyone's getting business in this room, it's me. That's the way I looked at it. Like, this is my networking event. So if there's investors here, if there's people buying or selling, I met Maya Rucker in that networking event. I looked right across the room at her. She was terrified because not many women were going back in the day, And honestly, that's when we started talking about the idea to bring out women who invest. Like, that's kind of, it was born throughout this time when we were seeing a need for,
another
women.
thing I didn't even mention.
Yeah, well, women, women weren't really coming to these events. So there was about 35 people, and like mainly men. And I'm like, why don't women come? But in 2022, or 2020, I think it was throughout, it was probably, a lot of things happened in 2023, but they started in 22. So 2023, I had heard that maybe they were going to stop doing the networking event. And I was like, time out. Like, you guys, this is a huge mistake. Yeah. Well, I get it, but like, it takes a lot of resources to keep that going. Yeah. And I'm like, let's not let me take it over. Just, you're not. And that was just, don't stop it. This is the thing that's running. This is the thing that's running my business. Yeah. I will run it. Don't stop it. So at this time.
Is that when you switched to the Aviator?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Okay.
Yep. So it was, you know, then Travis and I'm like, hey, I'm going to take this. I'm going to run with it. He's like, go ahead. And so I did. And then we built that up. Now we get anywhere from, gosh, I think there was we had 97 RSVPs. There was about like 85 people at the Aviator. And it's because people understand the value of being in that room year after year, and compound interest, and how, you know, there's been a core group of people, like I can honestly say, because I've been going to the events since 2019, there's about 25 people in that room that are always there no matter what.
Yes. We
average 17, anywhere from 11 to 17 new people at that event a month. And that is incredible. And it's because we open it up to everybody in the industry. It's not just it's not just, you know, this lender is the only lender in this room. There's multiple business people in that room. Yes. There's investors. There's, you know, you leave it open to everything, to everybody. And that's just, honestly, it's a free event, and it's a thank you back to the community.
Every third Thursday of the month.
Yes.
12:30 to 2:30.
It's going to be something that I always do. Always do. I believe in it. It's, you know, it's not going anywhere.
I have to say thank you so much for facilitating that still, because I can only imagine after with I started doing events, and God knows, like, it's just so stressful to coordinate, and I can only imagine with monthly. When you're leveling that off, setting up the event ads, like, God knows how.
It's a standard. It's my standard.
Just simply getting the food prepared. It's like, oh my God. So, frankly, like, okay, one thing too with masterminding is frankly, like, how have you kept the relationships? Because I think the hardest part is, once you're going through scale, once you're leveling, and once you're moving strategically, the complicated part too is the fact that you
can't control everything.
No.
Right?
No. And you're also shifting gears to different strategies, which may not include certain partners, and so you're not working as much with some versus others, and at the same time too, you're also kind of building out a wider network. How do you end up developing and curating that, especially for investors, like how they're supposed to target, especially from new, then to mid, then to a little bit more advanced, and curate that network? You know, how have you done it for you? I know it's a hard question.
You can really overthink it.
Yeah.
You know, you can really overthink it. And for me, these things happened organically.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, like one thing that I did. Let's go back to Maya Rucker, my dear friend who passed away last year. Light of my life. I know you knew her and love her. So moment for her and Rick and her brother, who I have a ton of respect for. But absolutely love her to death. She was a light in the world. She was an incredible person. She was a cheerleader for women. She was a cheerleader for anybody in the real estate industry that was getting into it. She just wanted you to crush it. She just wanted you to have, like, the confidence to go out there and do it. And
hey, my friend.
Maya with the money, you know.
Maya with the money.
Maya with the money, because she was a lender, you know. She was Maya with the money. But so getting back to that, I wanted to work with her. I wanted to work with her because I knew that about her. And I could tell that about her. And so I'm like, how do I get her to work with me? Something as simple as this, and I'm just an agent. So this is what I was thinking about one day. I'm like, well, I could have a website that I put my network of people on, right? And not just one lender, you know, there's RESPA laws where we refer 3 lenders. So I'm like, this is 3 opportunities that I can make with, this is 3 opportunities for me to make connections with lenders. So Maya was my first one. I called her, I said, hey, I have an idea. I want to put you on my website. There's going to be a meet the team section on KMC Real Estate. That was my website that I made in, God, who knows? Maybe it was probably 2020 when I was putting everything together, you know. COVID is such a blur, but that's when everything happened. So sometime in between there, but.
I don't know if you know this. I modeled my website off of that with partners.
With Square.
And I started to end up setting that up, and I swear
Isn't
that
it great?
was, for anybody who's an agent out there who's listening, that is phenomenal.
It was
to
huge.
end up having a partner section where you can highlight vendors.
Oh yeah. It was awesome. So I said, she goes, okay, girl, what you need from me? And I'm like, I just need your headshot. I need all your information. If you have a link that it could take them directly to your website, go ahead and give me that. And she was like, what do I owe you? I'm like, nothing. I want to work with good people. And I did that with I got you. And we did that with 2. Yeah, we did that with 2 other people, and then I did it with home inspectors, title companies, and what I found was, since I put them on my website, they referred me a client, and then that synergy just started. And then, you know, the first rule of thumb is if somebody refers you a client, you work on referring them the next one back. That's a part of it. You know, the relationship, it's value, it's give and take. It's the same way, you know, when I sit here as a brokerage owner, who's my customer? My customer are my agents. You're now my customers on top of my real live customers, right? You're still a real live customer. You're my agents,
Well, that's so wild though, at the fact that there's so many moving parts and so many core pieces and so much that you're putting on your plate. And to take a real note and shift, because I know you mentioned, I know we need to wrap up real soon, but one of the core things, I'm so thankful to you, and I want you to understand genuinely, guys, how phenomenal this woman is and how you put your whole self into every single business that you tie yourself into. Don't cry.
you got you got to, right?
Really, yeah.
You
But
do.
one of the biggest things is you
in.
genuinely, but you don't always have to, and you know that there's some that it's very transactional. And there's a lot of that within business. Period. There's not too many people that choose the foundation of being able to not only set themselves apart for people and put their customers and their clients in front, but also end up taking time out of their life to be able to set that up and curate that. And that is something that you have built as a foundational piece that I've seen in every single business that you've touched. And that is something that I think is foundational with working with Kayla has been absolutely phenomenal. Working with Lokal has been absolutely phenomenal. And God knows, whatever other business you jump into, I don't know which one, what's next.
We're gonna do it.
Well, you are, and you need to tell the people about it. So that's the next key piece. I'll let you take off.
Yeah.
You tell us what is next for Kayla Carosella.
So this is definitely a rebuild year for us. But also, I say rebuild year, but here we are today. We're in our second office space, and it's incredible, right? So we have our headquarters in Middleburg Heights. Love the space. We can hold 40 some agents there, and we're set up nicely for that. But just somebody like Gabe, for instance, like somebody like Gabe on my team that I have that's really starting to take off. When I see my agents move, they might not know this, but I'm moving behind them to put things in place for them based off of where I see them going. So although Gabe and we talk a lot, mostly every day, but if we don't talk every day, I'm watching what he's doing and I'm figuring out a way to support him and give him everything he needs to do that. That's what I have done with this space. This space is for him because I know that he's running a business and he can help scale this, and he's an important piece of my growth and where we all go together, right? When you start moving and grooving and now you have a space and now you can literally see it, right? Like it's right in front of you. I know you're looking at that desk and you're like, I know the type of person I want to fill that desk. You just need to find them, right? And that's organically going to happen now that we have the space here. So for me, what's coming up for local, I'm going to continue to flip. So I would like my team to at least flip, 4 properties this year. So I am your end buyer for anything in the suburbs, West End suburbs, Cleveland, Elyria. Send us your deals, cash, 2-week close, truly not assigning it to anybody else. I am your end buyer, cash money. Send your deals to Kayla at lokalrealestate.com or Gabriel at lokalrealestate.com so that we can work through those. So still going to continue to flip. The agents, there's a couple agents in the office, that do have me very busy right now just with their stuff. So getting things into place for them and making sure they're set up for success. We're always looking to bring on new like-minded individuals, but at this time, we aren't really recruiting anybody that's like brand new into the business. We have a good amount of brand new agents now. Now it's who are those key component people that we can bring in to help us get to that next level. We could be looking for possibly a compliance officer. I am looking to hire somebody to help with the compliance part for local. And then a great transaction coordinator. If you are out there and you can take on 300 transactions this year, call me. I got them and I can keep you busy.
Genuinely.
I would love an East Side location by the end of this year. To have 3 offices up and running would be a goal for me this year. Huge goal.
See, I knew it.
Yeah, I mean,
I knew it.
there are ways to go and ways to expand, and when I see us, organically sink into this space and kind of all the opportunity that's come, even just from this, like now that we have this office here, there's 3 or 4 listings up with local signs just in the area, and we're definitely going to, introduce ourselves to the schools because we do a ton with Homes for Heroes. A lot of our agents are Homes for Heroes affiliates, so yes. We're going to continue to reach out to the community and see what we can do to help and build in those ways. And, really, for me, it's just real estate is, even though there's a lot of different things going on, there's very little distraction because they all go into, it's all real estate, right? Mm-hmm. If I had to simplify my buckets quickly for everybody, there's the gutter business, there's the real estate business, which is commissions, and the brokerage, and right? I don't do a ton of wholesaling. I do some assignable contracts, but that could be a part, right? So that could be another bucket. And then flips and rentals are another bucket. Right. And then the storage facilities next door, they're another bucket. So my buckets are there. I need to fill my buckets, and I need to maintain my buckets, and I need to make sure that my buckets stay full. And even that could keep me busy the rest of the year. So it really has to be, for me to take on anything new right now, it would be a silent partnership. It wouldn't be something that my heart's really in because my heart's here with you guys. And I know you can tell that.
I understand. And that's absolutely phenomenal. And so
I'm going to pour into you guys as much as I possibly can, and I can't even help it.
Well, the good thing is it's going to work both ways. And it's going to be a situation where God knows where it's going to go. God knows where we're going to be 5 years later down the line.
There's no
Lokal
lid.
will take over.
There is no lid on our jar. The jar is completely off of the lid is completely off of our jar.
Game on.
You know, we don't, there's nothing to be afraid of, right? We've got the people, we have the systems in place. It's truly, how many people can we help?
Game on. Let's do it.
We're
Kayla,
doing it.
thank you so much. You are absolutely phenomenal. And genuinely, guys, it has been another episode of Local Keys and Contracts. I'm going to keep it light. Thank you guys so much for watching. And genuinely, there's going to be a link in the comments with Kayla's website as well as Lokal's website. And then in regards to everything, please follow us on socials. Make sure, please, hit the like button and subscribe. And I genuinely appreciate everything that all of you guys do. I appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe.
Thank you, guys.